Hello everyone, and welcome back to Learn English with Podcasts. I'm Jack.
And I'm Emma. In today's episode, we're continuing our exploration of a crucial topic, the significance of biodiversity in ecosystems.
That's right, Emma. In our last episode, we covered the basics of biodiversity and its importance. Today, we'll dive deeper into specific examples, case studies, and the role of various factors in biodiversity conservation. Emma, let's start by discussing the role of biodiversity in agricultural systems. How does biodiversity impact agriculture?
Biodiversity plays a crucial role in agriculture by supporting ecosystem services that are essential for crop production. These services include pollination, pest control, soil health, and nutrient cycling. Diverse ecosystems help maintain the balance and resilience of agricultural landscapes.
That makes sense. Can you provide an example of how biodiversity benefits agriculture?
Certainly. One example is the role of beneficial insects in pest control. Natural predators, such as ladybugs and predatory beetles, help keep pest populations in check. This reduces the need for chemical pesticides, which can harm other species and the environment. Emma, soil biodiversity seems to be a critical aspect of ecosystems. Can you elaborate on its importance? Absolutely, Jack. Soil biodiversity refers to the variety of organisms living in the soil, including bacteria, fungi, earthworms, and insects. These organisms play vital roles in decomposing organic matter, cycling nutrients, and improving soil structure. Healthy soil biodiversity enhances soil fertility and supports plant growth. That sounds vital for agriculture and natural ecosystems. Are there any specific examples of soil biodiversity in action? Yes, mycorrhizal fungi are a great example. These fungi form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, helping them absorb nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen from the soil. In return, the plants provide the fungi with carbohydrates. This mutualistic relationship is essential for plant health and productivity.
Emma, let's talk about the role of biodiversity in water systems. How does it affect aquatic ecosystems?
Biodiversity is crucial for maintaining healthy aquatic ecosystems. Diverse communities of plants, animals, and microorganisms contribute to water purification, nutrient cycling, and habitat structure. These functions are essential for the health of rivers, lakes, wetlands, and oceans.
Can you provide an example of how biodiversity supports water systems?
Certainly. Wetlands are a prime example. They act as natural water filters, removing pollutants and sediments from water before it reaches rivers and lakes. Wetlands also provide critical habitats for many species and help mitigate flooding by absorbing excess water during heavy rains.
Emma, how does biodiversity contribute to climate regulation?
Biodiversity plays a significant role in climate regulation through processes like carbon sequestration and storage. Forests, grasslands, and wetlands absorb and store carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping mitigate the effects of climate change. Diverse ecosystems are more resilient to climate fluctuations and disturbances.
That's interesting. Can you give an example of an ecosystem that plays a crucial role in climate regulation?
Yes, tropical rainforests are a key example. They store large amounts of carbon in their biomass and soils. The Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the earth, absorbs vast quantities of carbon dioxide, helping regulate the global climate. Deforestation in these areas releases stored carbon, contributing to climate change.
Emma, I've heard about keystone species. What are they and why are they important?
Keystone species are species that have a disproportionately large impact on their ecosystems relative to their abundance. They play critical roles in maintaining the structure and function of their ecosystems. The loss of a keystone species can lead to significant changes in the ecosystem and the loss of other species.
Can you provide an example of a keystone species?
Certainly. The grey wolf is a classic example. In Yellowstone National Park, the reintroduction of wolves has had far-reaching effects on the ecosystem. Wolves help control the populations of large herbivores like elk, which in turn allows vegetation to recover. This trophic cascade has improved habitat conditions for many other species. Emma, how does biodiversity impact human health? Biodiversity impacts human health in several ways. Diverse ecosystems provide sources of medicine, clean air, and water. Many modern medicines are derived from plants, animals, and microorganisms. Biodiversity also supports mental and physical health by providing opportunities for recreation and connection with nature.
That's interesting. Can you provide a specific example?
Yes, the rosy periwinkle plant, native to Madagascar, contains compounds used to treat childhood leukemia and Hodgkin's lymphoma. This plant is a prime example of how biodiversity can contribute to medical advancements. Protecting biodiversity ensures that we continue to discover and benefit from such valuable resources.
Emma, let's discuss the economic value of biodiversity. How does it contribute to the economy?
Biodiversity has significant economic value. Ecosystem services, such as pollination, water purification, and climate regulation, support agricultural production, fisheries, and tourism industries. Biodiversity also provides raw materials for pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and other products. Additionally, healthy ecosystems can reduce the costs associated with environmental degradation and natural disasters. Can you give an example of the economic impact of biodiversity? Sure. The global pollination service provided by bees and other pollinators is estimated to be worth billions of dollars annually. This service is essential for the production of many crops, including fruits, vegetables, and nuts. The decline of pollinator populations could lead to significant economic losses and food insecurity.
Emma, how is biodiversity linked to cultural heritage?
Biodiversity is deeply intertwined with cultural heritage. Many cultures have traditions, practices, and beliefs that are closely connected to the natural world. Biodiversity supports cultural identity, spiritual practices, and traditional knowledge systems. Protecting biodiversity also means preserving cultural heritage and the unique relationships between communities and their environments.
Can you give an example of a cultural practice linked to biodiversity?
Certainly. In Japan, the practice of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing, involves spending time in forests to promote health and well-being. This practice is rooted in a deep cultural appreciation for nature and its healing properties. Forests with high biodiversity provide the rich sensory experiences that are central to Shinrin-yoku.
Emma, education seems crucial for biodiversity conservation. How can it make a difference?
Education is vital for raising awareness about the importance of biodiversity and encouraging conservation actions. Environmental education programs in schools, public awareness campaigns, and community engagement initiatives can foster a sense of stewardship and responsibility for protecting biodiversity. Education also empowers individuals with the knowledge and skills needed to participate in conservation efforts.
Are there any successful educational programs focused on biodiversity?
Yes, the Jane Goodall Institute's Roots Shoots program is a great example. It engages young people in projects that promote environmental conservation, animal welfare, and community service. Through hands-on activities and education, the program inspires youth to take action and make a positive impact on biodiversity.
Emma, what do you think the future holds for biodiversity conservation?
The future of biodiversity conservation will depend on our collective efforts to address the underlying causes of biodiversity loss. This includes implementing sustainable land use practices, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and protecting natural habitats. Technological innovations, such as conservation drones and genetic research, can also play a role in monitoring and protecting biodiversity. Ultimately, a combination of science, policy, and community engagement will be essential for safeguarding biodiversity for future generations.
That sounds like a comprehensive approach. Are there any emerging trends in biodiversity conservation?
One emerging trend is the concept of rewilding, which involves restoring ecosystems to their natural state and reintroducing native species. Rewilding projects aim to increase biodiversity, improve ecosystem function, and create self-sustaining environments. Another trend is the use of citizen science, where the public contributes to biodiversity monitoring and research, helping to gather valuable data and raise awareness.
Emma, what can individuals do to support biodiversity in their daily lives?
There are many actions individuals can take to support biodiversity. Planting native species in gardens and yards provides habitats for local wildlife. Reducing the use of pesticides and herbicides helps protect pollinators and other beneficial organisms. Supporting sustainable products and practices, reducing waste, and conserving water also contribute to biodiversity conservation. Additionally, participating in local conservation efforts and advocating for policies that protect biodiversity can make a significant impact.
Those are great suggestions. Are there any specific actions related to consumption habits?
Yes, making sustainable food choices, such as eating a plant-based diet, choosing organic and locally sourced products, and reducing food waste can support biodiversity. Avoiding products made from endangered species or unsustainable sources, such as certain types of seafood and tropical hardwoods, also helps protect biodiversity.
Emma, can you share more case studies of successful biodiversity conservation projects?
Certainly, Jack. The restoration of the Yellowstone ecosystem in the United States is a notable success story. The reintroduction of wolves in the 1990s has had far-reaching effects on the ecosystem. Wolves help control the populations of large herbivores like elk, which in turn allows vegetation to recover. This trophic cascade improved habitat conditions for many other species and restored the ecological balance of the park.
That's impressive. Do you have another example?
Yes, the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park in Australia is another example. This protected area has been established to conserve the world's largest coral reef system. Through measures like regulating fishing, reducing pollution, and managing tourism, the park aims to protect the reef's biodiversity and resilience in the face of climate change.
Emma, how is technology aiding biodiversity conservation?
Technology plays a crucial role in biodiversity conservation by providing tools for monitoring, data collection, and analysis. Drones and satellite imagery allow researchers to monitor large and remote areas, track wildlife movements, and assess habitat changes. Genetic technologies, such as DNA barcoding and CRISPR, are used to study species diversity and enhance conservation efforts. Additionally, mobile apps and online platforms enable citizen science initiatives where the public can contribute to biodiversity monitoring and research.
That's fascinating. Can you give an example of a specific technology being used?
Sure, the smart spatial monitoring and reporting tool software is widely used in protected areas around the world. It helps park rangers and conservationists collect data on wildlife sightings, poaching incidents, and habitat conditions. This information is used to make informed management decisions and improve the effectiveness of conservation efforts.
Emma, what role do international agreements and organizations play in biodiversity conservation?
International agreements and organizations are essential for coordinating global efforts to protect biodiversity. Agreements like the Convention on Biological Diversity (CBD) set targets and provide frameworks for conservation actions. Organizations like the International Union for Conservation of Nature (IUCN) and the United Nations Environment Programme (UNEP) support research, policy development, and capacity building. These collaborative efforts help address biodiversity loss on a global scale and ensure that countries work together to protect our shared natural heritage.
Are there any specific international initiatives that have been successful?
Yes, the Global Environment Facility (GEF) is a successful international initiative that provides funding for projects aimed at addressing environmental issues, including biodiversity conservation. The GEF has supported thousands of projects in over 170 countries, helping to protect endangered species, restore habitats, and promote sustainable development.
Emma, let's focus on marine ecosystems. How important is biodiversity in our oceans?
Biodiversity in marine ecosystems is incredibly important. Oceans cover more than 70% of the Earth's surface and support a vast array of life forms. Marine biodiversity contributes to ecosystem services like oxygen production, carbon sequestration, and food provision. Healthy marine ecosystems also support coastal protection, tourism, and fisheries, which are vital for many communities.
What are some of the main threats to marine biodiversity?
Marine biodiversity faces several significant threats, including overfishing, pollution, habitat destruction, and climate change. Overfishing depletes fish populations and disrupts food chains. Pollution, such as plastic waste and oil spills, harms marine life and degrades habitats. Climate change causes ocean warming and acidification, affecting coral reefs, fish, and other marine species.
Coral reefs are often mentioned in discussions about marine biodiversity. Why are they so significant?
Coral reefs are incredibly significant because they are among the most diverse and productive ecosystems on Earth. They provide habitats for approximately 25% of all marine species, despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor. Coral reefs also offer important ecosystem services, such as coastal protection, food resources, and tourism opportunities. Additionally, they have cultural and recreational value for many communities.
Coral reefs seem crucial. What are some of the efforts to protect them?
Efforts to protect coral reefs include establishing marine protected areas, promoting sustainable fishing practices and reducing pollution. Restoration projects, such as coral gardening and artificial reefs, aim to rehabilitate damaged reefs. Additionally, addressing climate change through global efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions is essential for the long-term survival of coral reefs.
Emma, what about other important marine habitats like mangroves and seagrasses?
Mangroves and seagrasses are vital marine habitats that support biodiversity and provide critical ecosystem services. Mangroves, found in coastal areas, act as nurseries for fish and other marine species, protect shorelines from erosion, and sequester carbon. Seagrass meadows, found in shallow waters, support diverse marine life, stabilize sediments, and also sequester carbon. Both habitats are essential for maintaining healthy marine ecosystems and mitigating climate change.
Are there any specific conservation efforts focused on these habitats?
Yes, many conservation efforts focus on protecting and restoring mangroves and seagrasses. For example, the Blue Carbon Initiative promotes the conservation of coastal ecosystems, including mangroves and seagrasses, for their carbon sequestration benefits. Restoration projects involve replanting mangroves and seagrasses in degraded areas, often involving local communities in the process.
Emma, earlier you mentioned overfishing as a threat. How does it impact marine biodiversity?
Overfishing has a profound impact on marine biodiversity. It depletes fish populations, disrupts food webs, and alters ecosystem dynamics. Targeting specific species can lead to the decline of predator and prey populations, affecting the entire ecosystem. Bycatch, the unintentional capture of non-target species, further threatens marine life, including endangered species like sea turtles, sharks, and seabirds.
What are some solutions to address overfishing?
Solutions to address overfishing include implementing sustainable fishing practices, establishing marine protected areas, and enforcing fishing regulations. Sustainable practices, such as catch limits, size restrictions, and selective fishing gear, help ensure fish populations remain healthy. Marine protected areas provide safe havens for marine life to recover and thrive. Consumer choices, such as purchasing sustainably sourced seafood, also play a role in reducing overfishing.
Emma, you mentioned marine protected areas, MPAs, MPAs, ours. How do they benefit marine biodiversity?
Marine protected areas MPAs benefit marine biodiversity by providing safe zones where human activities are restricted or managed. MPAs help conserve critical habitats, protect endangered species, and allow ecosystems to recover from overfishing and other disturbances. Well-managed MPAs can also enhance fish stocks, benefiting surrounding fisheries through the spillover effect, where marine life migrates out of protected areas into adjacent waters.
Can you give an example of a successful MPA?
Yes, the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park in Australia is a successful MPA. It covers a vast area and includes multiple zones with varying levels of protection. The park's management includes measures to control fishing, tourism, and other activities. This comprehensive approach has helped preserve the reef's biodiversity and resilience, making it one of the best-managed marine protected areas in the world. Emma, international collaboration seems essential for marine conservation. How are countries working together? International collaboration is crucial for marine conservation because marine ecosystems and species often span multiple countries' jurisdictions. Collaborative efforts include international agreements, such as the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, and the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. Regional initiatives, like the Coral Triangle Initiative, bring together countries to protect shared marine resources and address common threats.
Can you provide an example of successful international collaboration?
Yes, the Antarctic Treaty System is a successful example. It includes the Convention for the Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources (CCA-AMLR), which aims to conserve marine life and ecosystems in the Southern Ocean. Member countries work together to establish marine protected areas, manage fisheries, and conduct scientific research. This collaborative approach has helped protect the unique biodiversity of the Antarctic region. Emma, sustainable tourism seems to be an important factor. How does it contribute to marine conservation? Sustainable tourism contributes to marine conservation by promoting responsible practices that minimize environmental impact and support local communities. It encourages tourists to respect marine life and habitats, reduces pollution, and generates funding for conservation efforts. Sustainable tourism also raises awareness about the importance of protecting marine biodiversity and can provide economic incentives for conservation. Are there any examples of successful sustainable tourism initiatives? Yes, the Galapagos Islands are a notable example. The Galapagos National Park and Marine Reserve implement strict regulations to control tourism activities and protect the island's unique biodiversity. Visitors are guided by trained naturalists, and tourism revenue supports conservation and local communities. This approach has helped maintain the ecological integrity of the Galapagos while providing educational and economic benefits.
Emma, how can citizen science contribute to marine conservation?
Citizen science involves the public in scientific research and data collection, providing valuable contributions to marine conservation. Citizen scientists can help monitor marine life, track environmental changes, and report illegal activities. This data is crucial for understanding and managing marine ecosystems. Citizen science also engages and educates the public, fostering a sense of stewardship and support for conservation efforts.
That's great. Can you give an example of a successful citizen science project?
Certainly. The Reef Check program is a successful citizen science initiative. It trains volunteers to monitor the health of coral reefs around the world. Volunteers collect data on reef conditions, fish populations, and invertebrates, which is then used by scientists and policymakers to inform conservation strategies. Reef Check has helped raise awareness and gather critical information on the status of coral reefs globally.
Emma, what do you think the future holds for marine biodiversity conservation?
The future of marine biodiversity conservation will depend on our ability to address the root causes of biodiversity loss and implement effective conservation strategies. This includes reducing overfishing, pollution, and climate change impacts. Advances in technology, such as improved monitoring tools and restoration techniques, will play a significant role. Additionally, continued international collaboration and community involvement are essential for achieving sustainable marine conservation.
Are there any emerging trends in marine biodiversity conservation?
One emerging trend is the use of marine spatial planning (MSP), which involves managing ocean space to balance ecological, economic, and social objectives. MSP helps reduce conflicts between different ocean uses and promotes sustainable development. Another trend is the expansion of marine protected areas to cover a larger portion of the world's oceans, aiming to protect at least 30% by 2030, as proposed by the Global Ocean Alliance.
Emma, what can individuals do to support marine biodiversity?
Individuals can support marine biodiversity by making sustainable choices and getting involved in conservation efforts. This includes reducing plastic use, supporting sustainable seafood, participating in beach cleanups, and avoiding products made from endangered marine species. Educating oneself and others about the importance of marine conservation and advocating for policies that protect marine ecosystems are also important actions.
Those are practical suggestions. Are there any specific actions related to seafood consumption?
Yes, choosing sustainably sourced seafood is a significant way to support marine biodiversity. Look for certifications like the Marine Stewardship Council (MSC) label, which indicates that the seafood has been sourced sustainably. Avoiding overfished species and supporting local fisheries that use responsible practices can also make a positive impact.
Emma, we've covered a lot of ground in this episode. What are your final thoughts on the significance of biodiversity in ecosystems?
Biodiversity is the foundation of healthy and resilient ecosystems. It provides essential services, supports human well-being, and enhances the stability of our planet. Protecting biodiversity requires a collective effort from individuals, communities, governments, and organizations. By taking action to conserve biodiversity, we can ensure a sustainable future for all life on Earth.
I couldn't agree more, Emma. Biodiversity is crucial for the health of our planet and the well-being of future generations.
Absolutely, Jack. Let's all do our part to protect and preserve the incredible diversity of life on Earth.
That concludes our extended episode on the significance of biodiversity in ecosystems. We hope you found it educational and inspiring.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the importance of biodiversity and the efforts to protect it. We appreciate your support and encourage you to stay engaged with this critical topic.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, follow us on social media, and visit our website for more learning resources. Your engagement helps us continue to bring you informative and valuable content.
Until next time, this is Emma.
And this is Jack. Goodbye.
Bye. Remember to leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Together, we can learn and make a difference.